She doesn't remember. She doesn't remember. Steve Cheung.
It was a cold winter day in Canada, and it was snowing outside. Inside our house, my mother and I got into a heated argument. I called her the B word and yelled, "Fine, I will leave and never come back again." I opened the door, slammed it behind me, and raced up to the rooftop. Over there, I decided to jump. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters. This is a story about me and my mother. And it all started when I was in diapers. I lived with my aunt for the longest time, and I didn't know why. My memories were those of eating my aunt's homemade chicken wings, playing football with my cousin, and also playing video games with my uncle, none of which included my mother. My aunt liked me very much because I didn't cause her any trouble. That is all about to change when I hit 10. My dad at that time decided for us to move to Canada. So being 10,000 kilometers away from my aunt, I soon find myself living under the same roof as my father, my mother, my brother, and I. Well, it's more like between my mother, my brother, and I, because my dad would frequently fly back and forth Hong Kong and Canada to take care of business. Actually, it's more like just my brother and I, because you see, when my dad was in Hong Kong, my mom would always go out with her friends. My brother and I would always find ourselves alone in our house, waiting for her to come back to pick us dinner. And when she does come back, we will finish eating and she will go out once again, returning very late. Did your mother do that to you? And when she was home, it wasn't any better. She would constantly be on the phone, making plans to go out, or telling my dad and my grandma that my brother and I never behaved. And when my brother and I would be having fun in the living room, playing around, she would come running out of her bedroom, screaming like a banshee, telling us not to make so much noise. Needless to say, I didn't like her very much. This continues until high school, until that fateful day. I was in my room minding my own business when she came in and asked, "Did you do the house cleaning today, Steve? How come you never clean the house?" So I confronted her. "I vacuumed the house yesterday." And she said, "Don't talk back at me. Do you know, I can just call your dad and let you know what to do." And I said, "Fine, just let him do. Let him know. Just tell him." I was beyond frustrated as she continued to berate me and telling my father that I was good for nothing. So after years of resentment living behind me, it started to surface and it reached a boiling point where I can't contain it anymore. So I yelled at her, "You bitch, I will leave the house and you will never see me again." And you knew how the rest goes. At the rooftop, I thought about my dad. Even though I didn't like my mom that much, my dad has given him all his energy, all his money to invest into my brother and I so that we can have a brighter future. So I calmed down, went back home, took a hot shower, and went to sleep. My mom and I never mentioned this incident again. A few years later, I graduated high school, and I soon find myself 5,000 kilometers away from home, where I'm studying in a university. Take that, Mom. You never wanted me to be close to home anyway. And when I finished studying and returning home once again, things had changed. During that interval, my grandpa has passed away, and my father has suffered his first stroke, and eventually he had to be placed in a nursing home. I also noticed something odd about my mother. She would be sleeping all day long, wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning just to take a shower, and she would occasionally open the front door, look outside, and close it back. And when I asked her, "Mom, what are you doing?" she would just say, I don't remember. So this carries on for a few more years. I'm now back in Hong Kong, finding my first job. And when I was settled, I got a call from my brother late at night one night. His voice was in quivers. Steve, Mom is in the hospital. I booked a ticket and flew back the very next day. I met with the doctor at the hospital, and he told me that my mother has been diagnosed with depression. He then led me to where she was in the activity room, and there I saw her standing very thin and fragilely. When she saw me, she was happy and said, Steve, long time no see. And she told me how good the people were over there, and the food was amazing. Amazing food at the hospital? As I was hearing her telling me about what she has been doing day after day, I soon realized that I had been the one neglecting her when she needed us the most. You see, it wasn't out of her volition to move to Canada. It was for the better of us. She left behind her family and her friends just so that my brother and I can have a better future. I'm happy to let you know that since then, I've taken my mom back to Hong Kong, living with me now, and she has been doing much better. I take her out to hikes with my uncles and aunts every Saturday. That is until the recent restrictions. Depression can take a toll on anyone, anytime, and it takes a brave soul to admit that they need help. I want you to pause and think about those that you care, your friends, your co-workers, and your family. Sometimes we tend to hurt those we love the most. Even though we can see strangers who are the crazy ones on the streets, but when it comes to ones that we love, we very much can turn a blind eye. So perhaps when my mother was opening that door and glancing out into the distance, she was indeed looking for help. Contest chair.